Before we start today, I would like us to quickly do something. Let's imagine this. We are in the kitchen by 2 a.m. in the middle of what we call a disaster zone of flour, sugar, eggs, and all. You're really hungry and you're trying to recreate your grandma's favorite cookie recipe. And it's going bad because there is one problem. Your grandma actually did not have a cookie recipe. She just used to say it all comes from the feel and just makes the recipe with the ingredients. Yes. So you're trying to channel your inner grandma and like recreate these cookies, but it is not going well at all. The first time you try, you're not sure whether your cookies are undercooked, overcooked, or probably even both. The second time you try, it is too burnt to even be eaten by an ant. The third time you try, you're really considering calling the fire emergency department because of how bad and how disastrous it was. So before you give up, you get a message on your phone. It's a message from your cousin, so you open it. She actually sent your grandma's cooking recipe. Yes, so she sends it and you decide to try one last time before giving up. And something surprising happened. Just after you try this one time, you have your grandma's perfect cookie recipe. You might want to ask me, we are doing Django today, we are coding, we are doing all of that. So how does cookies have to do with what we are doing here today? Well, let me put it this way. The story of every developer before the introduction of the Python enhancement proposal 73 was your story before your cousin sent you the cookie recipe. Before, all developers used to struggle with dependencies installation. I feel we've all been there one time or the other where we want to install a particular dependency and having problems of this version doesn't work with what you're doing here today, or this version of this package doesn't work with this version of this package, and it's usually chaotic, it's usually a mess. But yes, after the introduction of this Python enhancement proposal 73, this is very avoidable. As developers, we do not have to face these problems anymore today. These problems can now be solved with the introduction of the Python enhancement proposal 73, which we are going to be speaking about today. The magic of dependencies installing themselves. I am more than honored to be in front of a lot of amazing people here today, and I'm really excited for this opportunity. I'm grateful for Django Con US this year, particularly for allowing me to be a part um, of this event. My name is Ilerioluwakiiye Abolade, and who am I? I'm a mechatronics engineering student. I'm also a machine learning and AI enthusiast. So if you're not catching me doing mechatronics, you're catching me doing machine learning and AI stuff. I'm also experienced in software engineering. I've worked with Python, JavaScript, and frameworks, including Django. And I'm very goofy. I'm a goofy person. Yeah, I consider myself to be quite passionate at everything I do. Today, we are going to be speaking about a number of things, not a lot, but enough to change our lives. And I'm not kidding. We're going to be speaking about the inline script metadata. We're also going to be speaking about why you should choose this method. We're going to run through a demo of like magically installing our dependencies. We're going to look at the best practices to go about it. We're now going to like streamline it into our workflow as Django users. Then we're going to move to the conclusion today. So now, why we are here today, the inline script metadata. Once you're ready, go. This is a recipe card for your code. Just the same way your cookies were going burnt before you got a recipe from your cousin. And after you got one, it just worked immediately. It's the same way this is going to work for your code. You might have had issues with like dependencies, installation, and a lot more. They might not be a lot, but they could be bothering. And for people like me, they could be a lot. Yeah, so this could like really change your workflow for the better. So this is a way to specify script related metadata directly within your Python files. So with this recipe card for your code, you don't have to include the requirement.txt file. You can easily just have the dependencies you want to install directly within your Python files as a comment. So you're running it without even knowing that you're running it. Well, rubbish. Start again. This is a way to specify script related metadata directly within Python files. So with this new recipe card for your code, you literally can just put your dependencies within your Python files. Now, when you're running it, you're not running through the extra stress of running your requirement.txt file or your pyproject.toml file, but you're just running your normal Python file. And in that sense, you're installing the dependencies you need. It is placed at the top of your Python file. So this ensures the readability of your code. When you enter your code, you could easily just see the dependencies you need, see the versions you need, and easily run your Python file. This way, you don't have to like go through the extra stress of running your requirement.txt file, making sure your dependency versions correlate, making sure these dependencies run well with your code, and all that problems. So this literally solves the major problems of dependencies for us. So uses TOML format for easy reading and writing. Yeah. Tom's obvious minimal language is very readable and you can easily write it. This is why this method is actually adopted for this. So this my points here are just to like explain why this is like perfect recipe card for your code, why you should use it and how it is used within your code. So the basic syntax of how this works is this way I've highlighted above here. It works with commenting out your script, writing your key value pairs, where your key and value here will be like the dependency. Then the value will be the dependency and the version that the dependency is. And another key, let's say there are other requirements available, will be the list of like the requirements necessary and all. We're going to look at a more detailed version um in our talk today. Yes, so moving forward, why should you choose this? I've explained the recipe card for our code, how it works, why she use it, and all of that. So why should we choose this Python enhancement proposal 723, which deals with the magic of dependencies installing themselves? So one is improved dependency management. So you can actually share the exact versions directly in the script. So instead of running maybe a dependency you need and um, finding it hard to place the version that you might want to use, you can specify the exact versions you need directly in the script. So to run this code, you need this version of this dependency. That way, you don't have dependency problems. You don't even have the versioning problems. So also, it enhances the readability of the dependencies now of your code generally. So this way, all requirements for your code is like visible. Immediately you open your Python file, you're seeing all the dependencies, all you need at once. This way, your code is like way more readable than normal, and it usually is rather. Yes, I think this is one of the points that stands out for me the most is how easily shareable the files become. So you don't have to share an additional requirement.txt file, especially to like newbies. You can just share your code and they are running it, not having problems with dependencies, not having problems with the versioning and anything like that. I think this point stood out for me the most because it helped me in my own particular workflow. Also, my last point here is the management commands. You can specify Django version and other dependencies. I've said this on and again about how you can just specify the versions, the dependencies, and all that you need in your code. So I feel like all these reasons are reasons enough to use this Python enhancement proposal 73. Now we are going to move into the demo of how we can install our dependencies using this pip 73 method that makes our life way easier. So how it works here. Um, this is a simple running. This is a simple code rather of me running my code using this pip 73. So here I have my um script written the same way I wrote the basic syntax. So I have it written here. There's a script, then there's a dependencies key, then I specified reach. So reach is just to like color our out practically. Yeah. So with this Python enhancement proposal 73, I didn't have to import reach separately. I just imported it after running my pep 73, and then this worked. Um, okay, quite hard to see, but yes, this worked. And this is blue here. So right here, I found this very quite interesting that you didn't have to literally do anything. You were in I mean, my code. I'm just running a script. Dependencies equals to reach, and easily I was able to import a dependency and use it into my workflow. The best practices for this is one, be very specific. Use exact versions where possible. The reach there, I didn't specify the version, but yes, that works. But yes, using exact versions when possible will make our code way cleaner and it will make everything less chaotic. So using exact versions when possible saves a lot of stress, especially when you are sharing your code to new people in the in your workplace rather. So keeping it lean, only including necessary dependencies. I think one problem people tend to make when using this PEP 73 is, okay, I'm using this dependency. Um, I don't need it anymore, but I'm not clearing it off. I think it's something we tend to overlook because you're just like adding more dependencies to the top of your script and running your code. And since it's running fine, it's like hard to just go back and remove the dependencies you don't need anymore. But yes, only including necessary dependencies makes it run way smoother and makes your code way cleaner. So updating regularly, review and update metadata as your project evolves. Yes, as your project evolves, you should go back to it, change the versions when necessary. Um, the point of using this Python enhancement proposal is to make sure there are no problems with your versioning, no problems with your dependencies. So going back to review and update your metadata as your project evolves will make this like really perfect. So commenting, explaining why certain versions or dependencies are required really helps a lot. So the dependencies tend to be really vague. Like you don't really see their importance in your code until you look into it very deeply until you look into it very deeply. So it is just easier to comment, okay, I'm using Reach to color this in my output. I'm using Django for this. I'm using this for this. It makes it way easier to read, if nothing else. Version control. So yes, as you change your metadata, it is really good to like commit changes. Okay, I changed my metadata. I included this version, I included this dependency, I changed the version of this dependency from this to this. That makes it really easy to follow through your commits. So testing. Verifying that your metadata works in different environments really makes a big difference. So not just running everything and saying, oh, it works on my laptop, but actually testing it on different environments makes it makes it more than like guarantees that okay when you share your code to anybody it will easily run on theirs too. So we are going to be moving to the Python enhancement proposal 73 for Django users. We're just going to go through some challenges and some solutions that this has actually brought for Django users now. So the challenges with the traditional Django dependency management are First point here is environment mismatch. The developers working on different environments usually struggle with dependency conflicts. So errors like this dependency version doesn't go with this dependency version usually arises more than once in the workflow of a developer. So yes, this environment mismatch is one of the challenges that developers usually struggle with. Another being sharing of scripts. So sharing standalone scripts or management commands usually requires additional setup. So you usually need to one first like go through your requirement.txt file and import all the dependencies you need and start struggling with the versioning and a lot of things like that, or the pyproject.toml file and installing things like that before actually coming into your code. So now another problem is onboarding new developers. I'm trying to imagine how much of an headache it would be coming in as a new developer and taking time firstly to like set up your dependencies before actually going into your code. So I feel like this is something that can be easily avoided, which is why PEP 73 came into the lives of Django users. Now we can have seamless sharing, environment consistency, simplified onboarding, in that you could easily share your scripts now and not think that okay the person will actually spend time running dependencies or stuff like that. You could just go straight into your code. Another is the environment consistency. So this same script, since it's the same exact script you're running, it is guaranteed that okay, every single time you run it, it is definitely going to run. And new developers can now get started quickly by just running the code directly, not bothering about dependencies, forgetting that they even exist maybe, and going straight into the code. So now to our conclusion. I have 4 points I want us to take note of before we close the talk for today. The first one being the need to start using this in your personal project. I've spoken about the advantages, the problems it's solving, a lot of things like that. So I feel like actually using it in your projects makes a lot of difference. Honestly, it works like magic. So using it in your personal projects makes a lot of difference. Advocating for their use in your workplace makes a lot of difference too, because you're making it easy for you to share scripts, you to onboard new developers, and for your workplace to focus more on the actual problems than problems that are trivial like this. Contributing to open source Django projects using this also will make more people like adopt this practice, which makes a lot of difference. So staying updated to know okay, this has changed. This is not how PEP 73 works anymore. This is what the new things that has come to play is what actually brings makes our coding workflow the best. So thank you so much for listening to me today. Once again, I'm super grateful to be here, and I am pained that I cannot attend physically because I actually want to be there physically. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me via my mail, my Twitter, and my LinkedIn. Thank you so much for listening once again.